Okay, today I'm working on this silicon chip pattern generator, colour TV pattern generator, which I purchased as a mostly completed kit. The circuit board had been put together, but when I got it going, basically the image isn't very good. There's no colour and it's got a lot of interference on it, so I'm going to have a go at that again. I've just currently got the RF modulator disconnected in case that was causing the problem. I've ordered a couple of these little AD 722 RGB to composite converter ICs, because I suspect the one that's mounted under the board here is actually faulty in this one. That's what it looked like, but it seemed to be the RGB signal there, but not the output signals. Got sort of rubbish all over it, and like I say, there is a little trim cap here that's meant to bring the colour up. But yeah, looking at it on the TV, there's nothing locking in at the moment. I had a feeling I did get a bit of colour, but certainly at the moment, I think all it was when you're in colour mode, it's really hashy. It's actually worse than the grayscale for some reason, so I'm hoping it's just that chip that's faulty. Could be something else in here. I wouldn't think the colour crystal or anything, if that wasn't operating, would cause that. But I'll just show a picture of what it looks like on the TV and the waveform on the oscilloscope, and I'll have to go from there and change this chip, pull the board back out, swap the chip over and see what happens. Luckily I haven't even screwed the board in. It's only held in by the front panel, so we'll try swapping that surface mount chip and see how that goes. So this is the image on the TV. We're currently in grayscale mode. There's a bit of sort of interference on the edge of the screen, a sort of rough edge to it, and you can see sort of things flickering there where each grey part changes, or each tone sort of changes from a darker to a lighter. There's also rough edges on that, and if I go to colour, all I get is this horrible hash stuff all over the picture. If we go back to grayscale and turn off the grayscale part, the colour / grayscale bars, then we're on the checkerboard there, and I've got the same sort of similar interference and rough edges on it. The dots are sort of shimmering. The circle, you can see all the lines are sort of all pixelated and rough. That's the grey screen, I think. Is that yeah, white raster. That's meant to be a red raster. If I go to colour, I just get all that rubbish on the screen. In grayscale, at least that's not there. That's back to the grey pattern. So something's wrong with this thing. All I did was really hook up all the wiring and put it in the box, so something's gone wrong in the assembly of the board, and I plugged in the main microprocessor. I hope it's nothing to do with that. We'll see if we can get the signal up on the Crow. That's the kind of messy image I'm getting on the Crow. I think I might just set that to a different pattern generator just to make sure we have the Crow set up right, because you can't trust it otherwise. Let's hook up the other pattern generator, because you always got to test everything, make sure everything's set right. One of the hassles with oscilloscopes is there's a lot of different settings. So this is on my other pattern generator, and that's on colour bars, looking much more like it. There's something still wrong with the settings on the Crow, I think. Where are we? Check hatch dot white red bars. So if we turn the colour off, here we should get this sort of staircase pattern. Yeah, if I go on HF, is that HF rejection? Can't read a thing because the Crow's on a silly position. And we'll bring that in. Yeah, there's a nice staircase pattern. And yeah, we've got the black level, and I think that's the little colour burst there. Been a while since I've done the theory on these things, but where's the position the other way? But yeah, we're getting a nice stable signal. Steps down, and then I think that's the colour burst. And we've generally got a pretty good waveform there. If I go to colour, yeah, see where that little colour burst isn't really doing much, and then as soon as I turn on the colour, we get a lot more in the waveform. Wrong one, I want amplitude. And yeah, we want to fit more on the screen. That's why it just gets all that random rubbish. But yeah, so we've got this signal. I don't know, something's dithering away there a bit. That's probably just because I haven't got my oscilloscope probe. It's just touching on it. Yeah, it's picking up a bit of something maybe. Now it's come off altogether, of course. But yeah, that's much more what you'd expect from the signal. The old grayscale's always a good test. That's that white screen, yeah, because you can see we've got the little colour burst and sync signal there, and then just one big band across the top. That's dot pattern, hatch pattern, so it's got a bit more info. And that's the checkerboard pattern. Yeah, the oscilloscope really probably needs adjusting again. So this one has been doing some funny stuff on the colour. So that could actually be that weird interference I've been getting. Suspect there's something wrong with this pattern generator as well. But anyway, that's the sort of signal we're looking for. So it looks like we'll have to turn the crow back off for now. And turn this off, disconnect the power. And get my static wrist strap on. Get rid of all these leads and junk out of the way. Get rid of that video connector. And I can just basically pull this back out of the case, being careful with that LED sticking through the front panel there. And there's the chip. I'm going to have to try and remove that. Usually with a little chip like this, I find the easiest way is just solder all the pins together. Or at least do the best I can of soldering them all together. And then we can basically get a screwdriver. That one's probably a bit large. Where's that little tiny one? And this is just a crude way to swap surface mount stuff around. Just get everything well and truly melted, and while gently prising it up. Because obviously if you do that, prise it up the wrong way, you'll rip the tracks off the board. So got one side just sitting up in the air there. And now we can do the same with the other side. Some of those are already soldered together by the look of it. And you can basically just get that to come loose. Oops, it soldered itself to something. So just being very careful. And then you just rub all these pads. Make sure none of them are joined together. Some of these are meant to be. Most aren't. Yeah, those two are joined. And yeah, that's another double one, I believe. So it's possible when they originally put this in, something was shorted or something, but I didn't see any signs of it. Now I better check in the manual, just double check that chip was in the right way around. If I can find where the hell... Yeah, RGB to power encoder, installed as shown. So it's got the pin 1 and the stuff next to that big pad. So that's the way that other one was. That's still in the same orientation. So we want the little analog devices. Does it have it? It has a little notch out of the end of the chip at that end. And we should be able to see from the track pattern on the circuit board, yes, we've got those two that come up there are definitely joined, which you can see because the tracks are joined. And then one and then two more are joined together, so that is correct. I mean, in theory I probably should clean all that flux off, but I think it'll be alright. Now if I can get the plastic off this thing, again that's going to be a pain. Hopefully this is anti-static plastic they're using. I assume it would be. Now I'm not sure the best way to get this out, but I think I'll just kind of flick it out of the packet and slide it into position. Since I've got all my anti-static stuff, I should be pretty right to do that. Ideally, there's my little thin pliers gone. Don't know. No, there they are. Ideally, you keep all the pins shorted together and use some sort of insertion tool, but I don't know if they make them for surface mount stuff. Now we've got to get that in place and usually just solder a pin at each end. These are a bit of a pain to say the least. That one I can actually hold onto a bit without touching the pins. If I can just get those end pins. Oh, of course it moved when I moved my finger. It hasn't taken at all. And that's the problem because the pins on the chip aren't actually tinned. I'm really not a fan of surface mount stuff, but it can be worked with. But my eyesight isn't getting any better. I should really use a magnifier. I still don't think that's taken. No, it will not. The pins on this chip really lacking. I might put a bit of solder on my... Let's re-tin the soldering iron chip and put a bit of spare solder on there, because these pins do not want to tin. They're normally a bit easier than that. I guess I'm going to do this end one. Yeah, my eyesight's shocking. These pins are not tinning. That's what you get for buying chips off eBay, I guess. It's probably not even a genuine Texas Instrument part or whatever it's meant to be, Analog Devices or whatever they are. Bloody Chinese stuff. That's kind of taken, but it's still not right. That should tin easy as. I've never had a surface mount chip that didn't tin as easy as, and the problem is you don't want to put much heat into these things because they're pretty fragile. They've got super small leads on them. Get that aligned. Let's try and get that other pin. These are not taken well. That is just crap. That's done it. Yeah, I've never had that before. Yeah, these leads are not properly tinned, I don't think. You normally just take straight to it. It's probably why these are on eBay. Probably should give this a break and let the heat out of it. Getting it fairly hot. Yeah, normally these chips you solder them in and you've barely got to touch the leads and the thing's tinned. This I'm going to end up shorting the leads together. God, that's a pain in the ass. Because it does not like taking solder. I've kind of got to get two leads at once, which is not good. I don't know if are they meant to be tinned there. They are the ones that are meant to be joined, I think. Could be my eyesight, but that doesn't look like the best connections I've ever made. Probably should let that cool down a bit. So, oh yeah, it's getting very hot. And that's the problem. You don't want to be spending any time on these with a soldering iron. But if the mongrels make it so that they're not tinning properly, now I like to basically test all the leads on these things just to make sure there's no bridges. So I get a continuity test. Those two should be joined, because it also shows that they're connected to the board at least. This one I'm probably going to have to test. Yeah, that one's fine to the next pin there, joined. Nothing to there. They're connected to the board. They're not joined to each other. Joined to the board. Yeah, not the best solder joints I've seen, but I think they're alright. Oop, they're joined together, so that's not a good sign. I don't think they're meant to be. Yeah, that's joined to the board, isn't it? Not sure I've got them very well joined. That one's not even joined to the board, I don't think. No. So that's the fifth one from there, fourth from the other end. Which two are joined? Those two. Second and third from the top end. Oh, they are joined. That's okay. But I say the fourth one along doesn't seem to actually be joined to the board. Does it even join or anything? I was only hooked to that LMA pin anyway, I think. 1, 2, 3, oh no, fourth from that end. Oh, wait, what? Oh, that should be joined to the... Oh, yes, it should be joined to the pin next to it, and it's not, so that's not a good sign. That other one to me doesn't look well soldered either. That's got them. Yeah, a couple of those should actually be shorted to each other. So those two are joined, but not to the next thing. They shouldn't be joined. They should be joined. Yeah, now they're joined, so that's actually good. So that was definitely not soldered down properly. So the fourth and fifth, 1, 2, 3, yeah, fourth and fifth are like an earth or something. Oh well, that's all I can do. Now my power cable's come off. Well, it hasn't broken the wire, so I don't know how that unsoldered itself. Again, something else that probably didn't tin the best. Okay. Get that LED back in its little bezel thing. Oh, come on. Okay. So I'll swap that chip, keep those pins apart, plug in the video, and my luck it'll be exactly the same, but gotta try it. Get our power reconnected. Ooh! That looks a bit better, or is it? Oh, much better. Well, it's still a little jittery. That's a, ooh, we're still not, oh yes, we got red. Ha! For a minute, oh, and colour bars, so that seems to have fixed it. Oh, thank God for that. I better tweak that little cap. It was a little reluctant to put the colour up. Grayscale. Does take a second to come in. Red screen, white screen. There's a little bit of overshooting on the crosshatch, but well, we fixed it. So that guy obviously stuffed up putting that chip in. Not something I was expecting. Oh. Yeah, the grayscale seems a little flickery, and interestingly it looks a tad on the blue side on this. Ooh, I saw a bit of colour flash up then. Ooh. Oh, yeah, the colour's taking a little bit to clear. I wonder about this switch. I'd like to see that colour. Ooh. We were seeing a bit of rubbish on the... probably just because I'm touching that. Yeah, when I touch that switch, I'm getting coloury. Oh, now we've got no colour. Coloury stuff flicking up. Seems to be working now, but it's a little slow to come on. Could be this TV too, but because the video display's doing something weird, but yeah, I don't know if that's picking up a bit of rubbish, but I'll show you the image now. And voila, we have, and there it is, we have colour bar, back to grayscale. There's a little bit of flickering there, could be this TV or something, but anyway, so we've got that, and then we get rid of the colour bar. We've got our, so there's a bit of overshoot at the top. The black squares are kind of bent over. When one row they're bent into the white, or one side they're bent in the white, and the white's bent into them. On the left side, on some rows, the white square slightly bends into the black and the black into the white, and then on the next row, the left, the white bends into the black on that side, kind of the opposite way. But anyway, that's probably not going to get perfection out of this thing. The dot's really good, circle's good, not the best circle I've ever seen, but certainly gives an indication what the geometry's like. It's a pretty roughly drawn circle, but that's probably what you're going to get. And red screen, which is important, so we can do our purity. And white screen, generally don't really use that. If we go to red, we should be able to, let's pattern, turn off the colour. So we just get a dark grey screen, I guess, and see there's a little slow for the colour to flick in. And yeah, when I was touching that switch, I was getting some rubbish, so I don't know, it's not 100%, probably not the greatest design anyway. But at least it's working again, so I have to reconnect the RF modulator back up. Since I've got the wires hanging off that here. And we'll see if the RF works as well. Power off. Now, this had a weird error or something of how to connect it. Because the modulator is not the original modulator. And where the hell did they put that bit of info? I remember seeing it. Oh, here we go. Because this is a... Who is it? An Ultronics. It's in massive letters on the front there. So it's an Ultronics kit. And Ultronics in their wisdom, instead of putting the normal... this UM1285 Osco 1 video modulator, the standard quite large one, it's actually got 4 pins. I thought they only had 3 normally, but anyway, they obviously got their own one from somewhere, so they got this little small unit here. It looks like they've even changed the screen print on their one, which is kind of cool to bother doing that. I guess so you don't realise that it's been changed so much. So I've got rid of the original screen print, and then we've got to follow these wires through in this weird pattern. The top one being the green one goes to the middle pin. So there's no rhyme or reason to this. As far as the order goes, we just solder them as they indicate. So I'm going to the one closest to the back of the unit. Oh, did I just short them out? Probably. Yep. Not a good start. Start that again. Probably got a bit of excess solder on there from being soldered a couple of times, because they were originally soldered on and I disconnected them just to make sure there wasn't some sort of problem with the RF modulator putting rubbish back into the circuitry or something, into the composite. So the back one is green in this case, is the middle pin. The next one from the back is blue in this case, and that goes to the right hand end, which means yellow. I'll just check it anyway, the one closest to the front, and that's the 3. We've got 1 pin missing, so they're in the back 3. Yeah, that goes to the left hand end, just making sure, because then even though technically it has to go there, it doesn't have to double check, because then you find if you've made any errors, which you shouldn't have, but in kit construction it's always a possibility. Now I've got to find something to actually tune the RF into, but anyway, I'm happy that I've got that in place. I might screw this board down now. I don't need that manual anymore, so that little old surface mount chip there, she's shot. Obviously when they originally put it in they overheated it or something. So that can go in the bin. And I didn't need to buy 2 of them in the end, but where did I put it now? I've got a spare one if I need it. Probably a bit of a waste of $5 there, but I thought bugger it in case I stuff it up or whatever if I ever need it again. Sounds like an interesting chip anyway. Because yeah, it converts on the circuit. There's our modulator So you've got an RGB signal coming in on one side, pin 6, 7 and 8. You've got composite video, it's also got luminance out of there. And chrominance, so you've got the, basically, I guess, this video type setup. As well as composite, so we could go S-video if we want to. I think it's got a connector here somewhere, I remember. I think it might be that pin there, which was for... Oh, I got composite luminance S4. It must be the switch between colour and grayscale, I guess. And that basically comes out there through a coupling cap, 75 ohm resistor to video out, as well as through a level pot. So that's another thing I might have to set through another 470 mic with a 10k ohm to ground that feeds our video modulator. It's also got an RF in, audio in, sorry, socket for the RF modulator, so you can feed external signal into this. So it's always handy. I think I actually built a little 1 kHz oscillator or something and put it in my other one because it's handy to have a test tone, just so you can turn that on and off. Yeah, because I've drilled another hole in my one and put a switch on it. I can't remember what I did, but I'm sure I made some sort of little oscillator around 1 kHz. Probably a little 5.5 timer or 5.5 timer or something. So we've got a separate chrominance, so you could actually possibly convert this to run S-video. Anyway, that's what that little chip does. So now I need to find some screws that'll self-tap into this, whether I've got many of those left or not. Little ones like that are perfect. Good way to use up some old rubbish lying around the place. They should just tap into these. I don't have the original screws. Usually these cases came with a bag of screws, I think. I haven't even got the ones to hold the two halves together, which could be a bit of a pain. Where do I see a little black one there? Not going to look perfect, but might as well use what I got. I think I'll just put 2 diagonal ones in there, I'll probably do. Might just make sure I push that forward so the LED comes out the front. That should do it, I think. But yeah, that is a bit of a hassle. They've lost the screws for the case. Now, we do have a pot to set there, but now these are from memory super long. Which half has got the threaded part there? They might be standard Japanese kind of threads, I don't know. They were fairly fine. Yeah, they are by the look of it, so that's one good thing, but the screw head on that'll be too big. I may have something somewhere. That almost looks like one of the original screws, but probably isn't. I think the problem is I've got to find something that fits in these holes, and these are all going to be too big. Now admittedly we've got these feet on it, so as long as the screw's not bigger than one of the feet. Whoops, I left that one in there. Huh. Not long enough, that's the next problem. If they don't reach the thing, well, it's never going to be any good. Okay. I do have this old Dick Smith stereo television thing here. I might pinch them out of there, see if these ones fit. At least I can see what sort of screw they are. Yeah, God, they are quite long. And yeah, smaller head. They always were a pain, being quite a specialised screw. If you lost them, you're in trouble. But that's why you snavel any of these things you find. Going second hand these days. Okay, I really do need to sort out a better power pack for this thing, I guess. and I had to find a new knob for it because the knob was missing. Well, I think I already did a video on that. And I guess the next thing, yeah, would be to test this RF out. It's an RCA too, just to make it difficult. I used to have an RCA lead. I don't think I've even got an adapter from RCA to billing lead. Well, I've had a couple of oddball adapters here, an RCA to BNC. Not so odd. Can't remember what I used to use them for. I think for like video cameras and stuff they're handy, or even just... But what I found here is a really odd thing still in the packet. No idea where I got this from, but it's a BNC to billing Lee type power socket. Now, I don't think I've even got a TV with RF connected to it. Okay, I had to adapt a video lead male to female with another adapter, but finally I've got there. Power on. Now input. Put it on RF. Menu. Auto set. Press plus to select. Channel edit. Position 1. Actual channel. Now I wonder what this comes out on. Does it say? Oh, 1 was the original specs. Oh, interesting. That's an analog TV to, we're getting there. Channel 1. So that comes out on channel 1. Colour, grayscale. A little bit of interference there. Red, white. But yeah, the levels look good. That's the main thing. Go to grayscale. And all the levels look okay on that, so I think that's alright. Don't need to adjust that. So this is it on here. I probably should get rid of that menu thing. Can I get rid of, what happens when I do? Hopefully it doesn't lose the tuning. There's a little bit of interference on that. Just see some sort of interference beating in there a bit. Probably with all this, yeah, if I move the RF lead around it's just picking up and dropping out a bit, but it's picking up something from one of these other cables. That adapter's a little dicky, I think that could be the other reason it's doing that. But yeah, that'll work on an RF only TV, which is still important if you're doing up retro sets, because plenty of sets only have RF. I think that switches a bit quicker into colour, so maybe it is something to do with this TV and on the AV mode or something. Can never really trust these LCDs, even though this one's quite an early one, so it's not too bad. At least it doesn't mute the audio on this one. It's an old Dick Smith one as well. But anyway, so I've got that working on both things. If I go to TV video, PC video, and then we have it on the AV input. But yeah, for some reason that definitely switches slower. I mean, it's possible it's something with this TV. I probably should try it on something else. But this TV seems to work with other things okay. But anyway, that seems to fix this thing. So my little Ultronics kit's going again, so that's a relief. I just wanted to build one of these just to see what they're like. Since I wasn't even aware of this model until I saw it for sale, because I haven't sort of kept up with the electronics magazines and the kits they've been putting out. So this is a bit newer than my old one, which is another silicon chip one, but I think that came out, I don't know when it was, late, probably mid-90s or something. Whereas this one, actually at the date of the magazine, they've taken it off probably. I think, oh no, June 1997. So maybe my one's even earlier. I did build an Electronics Australia one, and then the pattern generator, some ZN, something weird chip in it. died, so I had to get rid of that one. Part no longer available, and so I built this silicon chip one. It probably was early 90s actually, the more I think about it. I guess I could actually pull it off the shelf and have a quick look. I probably haven't seen inside it since I originally made it. Okay, so this is the earlier model silicon chip one that I've had for years. Could do with a good clean actually. It's had a bit of hard use, 3 and 4 channel. I think I put the IEC socket on there. It's a bit different to the later one. Doesn't have a circle on it. Just the check hatch, dot, white, red and bars, which you can switch between colour and white. So get that out of the way. Get the screws out of this thing. Even they are getting a bit rusty. Oh god, they are rusty. Getting a bit rusty in the head there. So there it is, all individual chips in this one. I think I modified this with a, don't think it was meant to have the power transformer in it, but it's really annoying having to stuff around with power packs and stuff. So I think I've just put one of those Dick Smith, is it a 12 volt or something? 12 volt, I can't remember what it is, I can't read the number on that. I thought it was one of those M series, but anyway. So I think I put the socket on, put the power transformer in it, added a little board here for the little oscillator for the audio. Yeah, and then I've added the switch. So it just switches power by the look of it. I assume power goes in, fires up this little board, and that'll be wired into our RF modulator. Not sure if that's the original RF modulator either. It looks like it's actually on standoffs off the board. They must have made it like that, I think. Looks like they had to chop a piece of the board out to fit it around the screw hole there. But this is all 74HC chips. No dedicated chip or anything, and it's been super reliable, this thing. Yeah, like I say, could definitely do with the clean. And this has had a lot of use. I don't know if we've got a silicon chip. Don't really fancy taking the board out if I can help it. Whoops, that's the back panel bit. I'm looking for a silicon chip number on the, I'll have to see if I can find the original. I've probably got the original instructions for it somewhere still. I'm not sure what that wire is. Disconnected and heat shrinked off for some reason. No idea what that is. Unless it was originally something to do with the switch for the channel 3-4. But yeah, this thing's never given a problem, although it does seem to be getting a little bit of, I don't know if it's just on certain TVs, but a little bit of an interference pattern sometimes on the colour bars. So I'll have to maybe have a look at that sometime. And yeah, I guess I should show it a bit of love by giving it a bit of a clean. It's been sitting in the garage for years, which hasn't helped. Basically unused, but now I'm starting to use it again. It might be time to spruce it up, or maybe I should retire this one now and replace it with this nice clean new one. You can see from the case on this how much it's been moved around, and that's still just workshop use. I don't think I ever took it out in the van or anything with me, but just from general use over the years, it's been moved around a bit and stuff, and it's pretty badly scratched up. So, thanks for watching.